Elgeziry, thanks for taking the time and coming off the Western Invitational that the Air Force Academy hosted. I thought it was a great event. Your impression of the event itself?
I'm very, very satisfied. Went fantastic in so many ways. Performance-wise, we did very, very good. I'm very, very proud of how we pulled off the event in general. We ran the event in 3 different venues, and it was huge. Given the COVID situation, I think a huge success too.
Yeah, you were in the fencing gym, you were in the East gym, you were in Clune Arena, and you're talking about that. But I know you want to thank all of the people that it took to get all of those venues ready and to do it perfectly.
Absolutely. Everybody made that event happen. It was very, very hard to get all these small pieces together. My staff, my cadets, even facility guys, yourself, everybody put a lot of work to pull a fantastic event, and we got a lot of great compliments from other teams how the event had been running.
2 events, really. The individual events was one day, and then the following day on Sunday was the team event. Your team went 2-1, the men and the women. Lots of good performances there. Just talk to me about who stood out in your mind.
Many individual performances. As I mentioned to you earlier, we had team events and individual performance. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go in and just play, and that's what I told my cadets. We had few cadets who were put in quarantine. That affected the team event a little bit, but overall individual performance was what we worked for and what we hoped for. So, for instance, we had our captain Matt Good. He outperformed himself, and Nestor Levin, Will Nikolai, Matt Hahn, Russell Shaw, Ada Lentigua, Nicolo Gab, and Catherine Kim.
Yeah, fantastic job. I was impressed by Matthew Good. I know the superintendent came down for part of Sunday, and Matt, before he walked out there on the strip, gave a point to the Soup. The Soup gave him a point back. Kind of a neat situation to see leadership. I know Colonel Block was there and several others to see leadership at your event.
Yeah, Matt made me very proud this weekend. He is, as I said, he is our team captain. But once he stepped on the strip, every bout he was fencing, he was giving me goosebumps. And I bet all his teammates, he led the team. He was fighting very, very hard. He was calm, always in the zone. So I'm super proud of him.
Another neat thing that happened, Omar, was the senior recognition, which was live streamed, and it was in the big arena. Just talk to me a little bit about your seniors and how important it was to recognize all of their work.
As you've seen, we had 8 seniors. Extremely proud of every single person in that team. Everybody there was fighting as it's their last meet, which probably was in some cases. But the point is, everybody was standing on the strip and fighting hard regardless. Then the Soup coming down and honoring those guys meant a lot of things to those guys and to me personally. His leadership is outstanding. He comes down and honors those guys. It gives them a huge push. And I'm very, very proud of how we arranged that event as well.
Overall, I think your team really performed well, maybe better Saturday than Sunday, but overall, did they perform up to what you expected of them, and what do they need to work on now if they are going to move forward?
If you ask me, there is always more room to improve. I'm not going to say we did the best, but I will say we did great. We worked very hard, and I expected that this outcome. So I can't complain about what happened in this weekend, given all the circumstances we're living in. So very satisfied, as I mentioned before.
Given the circumstances that you're living in, let's talk about that a little bit, because being as this is such a mental sport, has it made it harder on your team, I guess every team, all the athletes, because of the COVID situation, and yet it's a mental sport and you have to focus on this point?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier in many interviews with you, to all my cadets. This is a very, very hard time to just be practicing. I am thankful for my cadets. They've been practicing since August of last year. They only get to compete twice. The trust they put on us, the trust they did all the way through was impressive, They come to practice every day. They don't know if they will be able to compete or not, if they will be able to travel or not. But regardless, they come every day. They put the work on the strip and just leave it there. So that's huge. That's huge.
Final question for you. You were able to compete, which is saying something too, because there haven't been a lot of competitions. Your team hasn't been able to compete that much. So that being said, pleasantly surprised that you were as good as you were this past weekend.
I'll say yes, absolutely. The weekend before that, I talked with my cadets and I told them that you have been prepared, and I didn't want to highlight also that one of the very few teams that have been working throughout all this period. So the answer is definitely yes. We performed as we wanted. So very, very successful weekend for us.
Omar, thank you for the time and good luck, and we'll find out a little bit later on the NCAAs.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.